Hello and welcome to my brief reflection on the last few weeks of the EDC 100 class. My name is Cody. So when we started the class, you can see first on our journey here there's a pothole, and that was about my personal frustration with myself of coming to class, feeling like I understood what was asked of me, and realizing in the moment that I hadn't watched the right video or done the right reading, and that I was confused and flustered. And I think this is an excellent way to start the class, kind of a happy accident in the sense that it really highlighted the need for empathy. When we moved into worldview as a foundation, there were 3 really beautiful videos and a reading, and the videos were all about the importance of culture and passing down culture and tradition. As you can see, they spiral out into how they related to so many parts of the class, and so it really was this foundational piece, both in giving us a different sense of the worldview, but also for the rest of the material we covered. It felt like it tied in question 2, and how does my knowledge inform who I am and who I want to be, and question 5, what is my responsibility to learn, in the sense of highlighting what it was that I didn't know in a group discussion that we didn't know, and then what it was that we didn't know. There were some really interesting discussions about recognizing this and kind of having to move past that place of ignorance. And I think that comes into what does it mean to be an educator? And I think sometimes being an educator means recognizing that we don't know, and that to be a really good teacher, we're going to continue to not know. Doesn't mean there'll be things we don't know anything. We'll probably know a lot, but it is moving forward with that. So as we move forward kind of down the road, we got to, what is learning and who is the learner? We read a beautiful article by primarily around Keegan's 5 Stages of Learning by Zhang, and there was a reference to Camp Hill and creating this learning environment. We also watched a video which was an Invite to Learning by Elder Oleman. And I think these are a beautiful combination because Keegan's 5 Stages of Learning really highlight question 3, how do I develop a sense of being uncomfortable with discomfort? And I think both Keegan speaks to this, and so did Elder Ullman in their own way. Elder Ullman talked about, the discomfort of a student and leaning into that and moving past that. Whereas Keegan and Zhang were talking much more about the discomfort of growth, the discomfort of development, and what it means both as an individual to pass through those stages of learning into that kind of self-transforming and self-authoring stage. And then what it means to create learning environments that create discomfort in your students. Again, I think this ties into question number 1, what does it mean to be an educator? We can start to see that there's a lot more connections happening. Then we get into the stage where, I'm not the Indian you had in mind, and really starting to question, how do we know? And we read an article about embodied learning, and we watched the video, I'm not the Indian you had in mind. And I think in reading this article about culturally responsive pedagogy and tying that back to both, what Bradley Dick had said, what the Clam Gardens and the Chemist video had shared, and then looking at what Elder Ullman had said, it started to really highlight for me how challenging it must be for Indigenous people to come to an institution when institutions in their history have been a place of harm. And it was so sad to see something I had never seen, and yet so beautiful to see something I had never seen. And I think it highlights, again, this piece of, how do we develop the sense of being comfortable with discomfort? And I think it's the permission to allow ourselves to go through the stages that Keegan talks about, and the willingness to grow. So as we move past this, we get into this place of really evaluating our sources of knowledge and everything related to, what are some of the skills that we need to educate ourselves, to develop ourselves as an educator. Came down to, both question 3, learning to become comfortable with discomfort, and then evaluating these sources of knowledge and recognizing where are we getting our information, who are we asking, what are we missing. When we move down into music and learning as teaching and knowing, I think it really highlights that there is a different way for learning. And there was so much to say about this 3 weeks, and thank you so much.